Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. How are you? How are you? You are watching SOS, Saving Our Sex Lives, one bedroom at a time. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and I am on significantly earlier than what you normally see me. You may be a little confused and trying to figure out what's going on. Well, listen, I am trying to accommodate all of you who have really, really busy schedules, and maybe I can catch you during the lunchtime hour. So, what I need you to do is let me know if you like this new time. Drop it in the comments. I want to accommodate each and every one of you, especially my faithfuls, especially my people who are showing up here every single week. I want you to drop those comments in the chat and let me know if you like this 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time change. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, all of those things, whatever it is that you are celebrating. I just want to say, man, this is our Lord and Savior is the reason for the season. And I am so thankful for all of my many blessings individually, within my marriage, within my family, just within my home. I am in such a space of gratitude, and I wonder, what are you grateful for this year? What has exceeded your expectations, and what are you full of gratitude for? So I want to start off positive, and throughout this conversation it will be positive because we're talking about recovery process. Today we're talking about sex after betrayal, and this is part 2. So hopefully you watch part 1. If you didn't, you can always catch the replay. You know that. But I like it when you're live with me, right? Because I love to get your immediate feedback. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to drop in here, first of all, where you're streaming from. And then secondly, do you like this 12 o'clock time? I'll give you a few minutes to go ahead and chime in and let me know who you are, where you're streaming from. And if you like this time zone change, not time zone change, but time slot change, let me know. I want to hear feedback from you. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to jump into today's topic. You're watching SOS. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. You're watching SOS. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and I just want to shout out, oh my goodness, my girl Lindsay, you're up in here. My girl Kathy. Hello, Marilyn. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. So we're going to dive right in into today's topic. So last week, again, it was part 1 of sex after betrayal, right? And some of the things that we talked about was the different stages, phases of erotic recovery. First phase is the crisis phase. Second phase is insight, and then last is vision. So we talked about the crisis phase last week, and some of those signs and symptoms, you guys, that you can expect during the crisis phase was emotional instability, right? Loss of sleep, reminding yourself to take care of yourself, intrusive thoughts, more passionate and intense sex, new sense of allure. And then for some, there was no sexual connection at all, which makes complete and total sense because it really just depends on where you are in your process. All right. So, again, today we're talking about the insight phase, which this one occurs right after the crisis phase. And, the crisis phase will feel like it's going to last forever, right? One might feel like I am never going to get over this. I'm never going to get out of this. And then as you continue to move through the process and you continue to do your work and your partner's doing their work, and you'll recognize that you're entering phase two, the insight phase. So when you start referring to the infidelity as our affair versus your affair, then we know that you are moving into that insight phase, right? There's less blame, there's more curiosity. You'll start asking all types of questions, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Um, there'll be less focus on the details of the affair because many times, those are all the questions, right? And all we're thinking about and all we're talking about. Um, so it'll be those questions like, well, how many times did you meet and how many times did you have sex and where'd you have sex and was this person's body better than mine? Did they please you more than I do? Those types of questions. So there'll be less focus on the details of the affair itself and more on about the relationship, like how did this happen to us? And then you'll start to look at the emotional content of the affair. Were you thinking about me while you were doing this? Did you think about us? Did you think about our family? Did you think, if they're kids, did you think about our kids and what this would potentially do to them with the choices and the decisions that you made surrounding this affair? So you really want to get an understanding and really start honing in on the emotional components and, less on the details. And so this is a really good time. I mean, obviously, right after D-Day is a really good time to try to get involved with therapy. But if that doesn't happen, definitely during the insight phase, that is a great time to get into some couples counseling or into some therapy. They, whomever you connect with, I mean, hopefully it's us, right? Whomever you connect with should help usher you into phase three, which is the vision phase. And that's what we'll talk about next week. But, during this insight phase, the focus really is on understanding each other, trying to create empathy. And in the insight phase, it's really not about jumping and rushing to forgiveness. I think one of the things that happens many times is that we rush to forgiveness too soon. And then it ends up being cheap forgiveness, or it ends up not being genuine and authentic, right? And we need it to be real and genuine and authentic and meaningful and purposeful, right? And so the focus again has to be on creating empathy. And, if we jump again into forgiveness too soon, the feelings that we had when we made that decision, they can be fleeting and they can be temporary. And once those feelings are gone, there may be some regret that sinks in because you weren't quite ready to forgive. And then that's where you can see a lot of setbacks. And if you move into what your partner considers to be a healthy space, and then you retract or you regress, that could make them lose hope too, and really cause them to have difficulty in their own recovery process because you have regressed. So we just have to be so mindful and careful that when we do truly extend that forgiveness to our spouse, to our partner, that we mean it and that we're ready, at least mentally, maybe not emotionally, right? Because the mind is just like the CPU of your computer. It is the one that controls every other part of our bodies, right? Including our emotions. So if the mind gets made up, then everything else will follow suit. The body will follow suit, the emotions will get in alignment, and all of those things that you want and that you're hoping for and you wish and you desire, they will happen. They will totally happen, but we have to make up our minds first, right? That we're going to forgive. The one who's been cheated on, the betrayed, oftentimes will take back their forgiveness when they feel powerless or when they need to try to rebalance the relationship, if they're feeling out of control, if their mind, if their emotions take over their mind, then they may have a tendency to take back their forgiveness. And we don't want to do that. I found this really interesting quote by Tammy Nelson. It says, when you can experience empathy, you can begin to explore real erotic recovery. The memory of the third person will no longer be in bed with you. How many of you can identify with that? When you are going through your recovery process, your healing process, and, every time you lay in the bed or, every time maybe you're about to have sex, like you are seeing or thinking about that third person in the bed with you. Let me know if that resonates with you, because I'm telling you, that's so hard, so difficult when you're trying to restore your marriage and trying to get to a healthy place, and you can't help but think about this other person who's sandwiched in the middle of your marriage, in the middle of your relationship, in the middle of your bed. Nobody wants that, right? But that's what can happen during this insight phase if we usher that forgiveness too soon, if we try to move through and skip steps and don't do everything in order as it should be done. That can happen, and we don't want that. So I'm just looking at some of your comments here, and I love the fact that some of you are saying you like the new time slot. That's cool. So listen, this is what we're gonna do until you tell me otherwise. So Lindsay says, thankful for the difficulties that I've walked through that woke me up so I didn't continue in bad habits and an unhealthy relationship. Thankful for getting to see that I have more potential. Moved into this step. With betrayal on both sides, he still holds on to his phone because he lost trust in me too. I've been completely transparent. Should I set boundaries until he is willing to be completely transparent as well? Lindsay, wow, this is packed with such goodness. I love it. So I want to talk about your comments first. I love the fact that you're saying that you've been able to look in the mirror. You've been able to see yourself, and saying that you woke up. So you realized there were some bad habits that you had. You realized that the relationship was not healthy. And so you reached out and you got support. And obviously, I know you. So, you've gotten support, you've gotten help. And this is what we're encouraging all of our watchers, viewers to do if they have not done so. And even after you've gotten help, you still need maintenance, right? Every marriage, if it wants to continue to grow and thrive, needs maintenance. So you still need to be checking in, looking at master classes. You need a tune up. So maybe you book a session once a month, but you still need to be making sure that you're continuing to stay on the path, continue to utilize the tools and strategies and resources that are provided for you so that you don't regress, right? That you don't fall back into old patterns, old habits, old ways, old behaviors. And so I love that you're saying you woke up, you saw some things. I know for a fact you did something about it. But now you're expressing a concern about him holding on to his phone because he's lost trust in you. So you've been completely transparent, and you want to know, should you set boundaries until he's willing to be transparent? So, the initial thought is, yes, set boundaries. But if you think about it, you are saying that there's been betrayal on both sides. And I understand that yours was not sexual in nature, that it really didn't pertain to a third party. It was a different type of betrayal, right? But betrayal nonetheless, okay? And so you both have played both roles, betrayer and betrayed. So with that being said, yes, you have to regain his trust for sure. And I would just say be patient with him, continue to be consistent, showing up, doing the things that you say you're going to do, honoring your commitments, continuing to be completely transparent, and, just keep communicating. Let him know that, listen, I understand that I violated your trust and I'm working very hard to regain that trust. Um, but it still bothers me that you're holding on to your phone. If it's a trigger for you, use that word. If it brings up some emotions in you that were not there, where you're questioning whether or not he's being faithful, if that's what's happening, communicate that. But definitely make sure you are letting him know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Give him an opportunity to confirm or correct what you're saying, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And the only way he can confirm or correct it is by you to verbalize it. So I would say have a conversation with him, let him know how that makes you feel. But also, before you even get into that, let him know that you are working to regain his trust and you're willing to do whatever it takes to do that. And ask him, how am I doing in the area of regaining your trust? Is there more that you need from me that will make you be more comfortable and more open and more willing to be 100% transparent with me? So have a conversation with him, Lindsay. Hopefully that helps. All right. Um, who is this? Philippe. Hello, Philippe. He says it is, or it could be Felipe. It is hard to trust the other person, and I want to trust that person, but behind my mind, wonder if she still see or talk to. Oh, okay, I get it. So you're saying it's hard to trust the other person. You want to trust them, but in the back of your mind, you're wondering if she's still seeing or talking to, I assume, the affair partner. And so I think it's Felipe. So Felipe, what I would do is have a conversation. Everything that I share on this show, no matter what we're talking about, it still comes back to communication. Have a conversation with your spouse or your partner and let them know, you're having these thoughts, you're having these feelings. Same thing I said to Lindsay, give them an opportunity to confirm or correct. And, at the end of the day, if there is something going on, you will find out one way or another. You will find out if there's something going on. But I would start with having a conversation before you start investigating. You may have already started investigating. If you have started investigating, then that means you haven't found anything, because you're saying in the back of your mind, you're wondering. So if you have been investigating, that means you haven't found anything. And so if you haven't started, I would say don't start. Start with a conversation with your spouse. And if there's something, or partner, let them know if there's something that you need more of or less of from them, so that they can course correct if there's course correction needed. All right. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back to finish up this Sex After Betrayal Part 2. You guys do not go anywhere. Welcome back. Welcome back again. You're watching SOS, and we are talking about sex after betrayal. This is part 2 of my 3-part series that I'm doing for you guys. And we were talking about phase 2, which is the insight phase, where we are really moving toward that empathy and seeking understanding. And it's no longer your affair, but our affair, our affair, which is really a good place to be in because it's showing that progress has been made. And that's what we want. Because if you don't see any progress, you're not experiencing any success, big or small, people quit. They have a tendency to tap out and they'll throw in the towel and they won't keep doing the work that is necessary to move through this recovery process and ultimately get to total healing. Empathy is so important during the insight phase, because what can really happen is you guys can really start exploring what real intimacy will look like moving forward. And empathy means that both of you are validating each other's feelings and you're beginning to understand what it's been like to live in each other's worlds, which is so important because that is the thing that's going to help you when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling triggered, you don't understand, again, how this happened, why it happened, whatever. When you have that empathy, it allows you to step outside of yourself and be able to see things from that other person's perspective. And it can give you some compassion for the other person, regardless of how much pain or hurt they have caused. And when we experience empathy, we actually can begin to explore real erotic recovery. Eroticism becomes a new way to connect consciously and intimately. And when that happens, the memory of that third person will no longer be in bed with you. When we are able to connect intimately and consciously, there's no space or room for that third person. And so you will begin to create a new sex life together, new fantasies, new ways of being together. You start to feel hopeful again that maybe, just maybe, this thing can be way better than what it was before. Your relationship can start over. You begin to see that and feel that and realize that you can be together in a more healthy way, in a more productive way, in a more pleasurable way. There have been so many times where we've had people watch the show, clients that we work with, and they have said that the affair woke them up. This is partially, I think, what Lindsay was talking about. You know, she woke up after this devastating thing happened, after this crisis happened. But after after they go through a recovery process, they're closer than ever before. Again, multiple couples come onto the show, multiple clients that I've talked to, once they're able to move through the recovery process, they are able to identify ways that the relationship, again, is so much better than what it was before. And I tell you, it's, in every situation, we all would hope that we wouldn't have to go through infidelity to get to this place, right? Why do we have to go through that to get to this? But you know what? Sometimes you have to go through a little pain to get to the pleasure. And that is what it is. It sucks. I know it's not fair, but listen, for those of you believers out there, if Jesus had to bleed and die on the cross for my salvation, I can experience some hurt and pain, some trials and tribulations on this earth. I'm not being pinned to nobody's cross. No one's beating me, bludgeoning me to death, right? So I can endure. I can totally endure. And so we have to sometimes get outside of this thought process that life is going to be unicorns and rainbows, that it's supposed to be easy all the time. No, it is meant to be difficult. We will be tested. We will be tried. This is what it is. C. Jenkins says, my husband says he's patient but gets frustrated because I'm not on fire for sex all the time. We are way better than we were after Last Chance Weekend. I don't feel he appreciates our small victories. Is it that he doesn't appreciate the small victories? Or is it that he feels the words and actions are not aligning. What do I mean by that? If I tell my husband that I have forgiven him for something, let's say we get into an argument, right? And I'm really upset with him, something that I feel as if, he did wrong or whatever. And I'm really upset with him. But I say I forgive him and I say I'm okay and I've moved on, I've moved forwarded, moved forward from whatever the thing was. But yet I still have an attitude, or I'm still not speaking kindly to him. I'm still somewhat withdrawn, and there's still this feeling of disconnect, right? But I said I forgave you and I said I'm okay. My words and my actions aren't aligning. So that can happen sometimes. So it may not be a situation where, again, he doesn't appreciate the small victories. It may be that the actions aren't aligning. The words and the actions are not aligning. It could be that, but that's a conversation, right? That is the conversation. Now, also, we all have different scales for patience and how we measure that. What I consider to be patient may be impatient for someone else. So that's relative. And I don't know how patient he's been. The question is, do you feel like he's been patient? Because what you said is he says he's patient. Do you feel like he's been patient? But I do feel like, again, this is a conversation. Thank goodness you guys, thank God you guys are, in a way better place. And, it steps to this. It steps to this. So, as you watch this show, and I want all of you to do this as well, think about where you are. Are you in the crisis phase? Are you in the insight phase, or do you feel like you're in the vision phase? I know we didn't talk about it yet, but based off of these two phases that I've shared with you guys, do you feel like you're in a crisis phase, or do you feel like you're in insight? Because the level of support that you need is different at each phase, and the type of support you need is very different. So you guys have gone to a last chance weekend and you've gotten additional support. So I feel like, for the two of you, Mrs. Jenkins, I feel like you guys should be in the vision phase by now, right? And if you're not and you're still in that insight phase, then there may be some additional work that needs to be done to propel you to the next phase, But again, I will have to connect with you to kind of know where you guys are and what you're doing. But the reality is this, you do need to celebrate the small victories. You do need to appreciate from whence you have come, right? You do need to do that. And I think it's important to acknowledge the changes that each party makes, the betrayer and the betrayed should be complimenting one another, should be pointing out those things that are better now, that they specifically are doing. How did they contribute to where we are? We're in a healthier space. Okay, specifically, what did you do and what did your spouse or partner do to get you guys to this next level? And if that's consistency, if that's transparency, if it is, changing job, whatever it is, right? Take the time to acknowledge the things that your spouse has done to get you guys in the space that you're currently in. If you have made progress and you have moved forward and you're in a different space, a better place, then communicate that. Show your appreciation, acknowledge it, and say thank you. Let them know that you truly appreciate it. So I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in and for watching. Anybody who could benefit, send them the link, let them watch the replay. But I appreciate you guys' feedback and comments about the new time. So hopefully this works for you all. Again, thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys' SOS. My name is LaKeesha Hines, and I will see you next week at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great day, you guys. Bye.